Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Sex Therapist. We have a special guest today, which is very fun and exciting. So let me introduce him. Aaron Frazin is a leading sex and relationship coach who's helped hundreds of individuals and couples get unstuck. From those trapped in their heads to partners who haven't had sex in months to folks quietly wondering if they're too broken to enjoy it all. His style is direct, warm, and evidence-based, and he's trained as a sex therapist and certified in sex coaching as well. He holds advanced training in body-based approaches like Hakomi mindfulness therapy and Gestalt therapy. And beyond his coaching practice, he's trained other therapists and even founded a multi-million-dollar tech company that was later acquired. Sex challenges aren't random. He feels that there's messages from a part of you demanding to be heard. So without further ado, please welcome Aaron Frazin. Thank you for being here, Aaron.
Thank you, Heather.
I hope I'm saying your name right. I probably should have double
Aaron
checked.
Frazin. It's like
Great.
raisin with an F.
Great. I did it. You had an interesting journey to get to the work that you do now. I think we all have, but I'd love to hear more about that. So how did you go from businessy tech guy to sex coach?
Yeah, businessy tech guy to sex. It was like businessy tech guy to sex therapist to sex coach. I think businessy tech guy was like doing so good at following all the rules. Like I was married. I had created this multi-million-dollar tech company. I like really followed all the scripts, but like secretly inside, or not so secretly to some of my closest friends, I was miserable. I was so detached from my own pleasure, my own joy, my own hobbies. And I kept thinking like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I have it all, but I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I like pushed that voice down, and then it would come back up, and I'd push it down, come back up. And eventually I started seeing a therapist who was actually a CEO coach who was also a therapist. So I got kind of lucky because I was looking for a CEO coach. Don't know if at the time I would have seen a therapist.
Interesting.
And he helped me like hear myself. And then as I started to do that work, I got more and more deeper into like just growing as a human. Eventually, I left my company. I started to become a therapist myself. I went to grad school, became a sex therapist. And then I just got more through all the trainings and just through evolving as a person, I got obsessed with how do I stop moving from shame, like I'm broken, or how do I belong, to just curiosity about my impulses and pleasure. And so, I just kind of, I love helping people move from just following what they should do.
Yes.
To just like, how do I know what I want? How can I get that? How can I find my pleasure? How can I live in a way that really fills me up? I believe like so many of us are living on stress or shame as fuel, as motivator. Like I can be better, I can improve. But life becomes a lot more chiller when you just accept yourself. And that other fuel is like dirty fuel, like that obsession and like self-improvement for me was like dirty fuel. And now just like, I'm just like, what am I curious about? And I just keep following that. Yeah. So I do sex coaching, have a full practice, and then I also do painting and sculpting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's kind of my...
Did you say partner dance? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I like to like two-step. I'm learning salsa.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I think, and for those who, I guess no one knows this because I haven't said it yet, but Aaron, it was on this Chicago sex therapy listserv, and I was like, oh, it's another coach. There's so few therapists turned coaches, and I was like, let me be nosy and explore his website. And then I don't think I told you this last time we spoke either. When I was reading your website, I was like, his website sounds more like me than my website does.
That's great, because when I made the website, I was just like looking at a picture of you and just typing. No, I wasn't.
No, that would have been weird, but who knows? So yeah, but I was like, because you mentioned I feel like you mentioned some like spiritual stuff, and I think I told you Hakomi is something that was kind of interesting to me,
Yeah.
and part of it was also because I've been working on my messaging and copywriting, and I was like, oh, I like how he did his. Yeah, so that's cool. But what an interesting pivot for you to go from like business guy to like art and coaching around sex. Like that's it's like
In
a
between
180.
that, there was like 100 days in the woods. I went on the Appalachian Trail. I did like a 2-week
Literally.
Vipassana. I was like in semi-solitude. So there was like multiple chapters to get here.
Yeah. I'm so like, what do people in your life think about the transformation? Are they like,
Most of them are like, that makes sense. You feel a lot more
okay,
you. I
okay,
was like, tech founder running that business, raising all this money,
mm-hmm.
but I was still kind of weird, like and quirky, I guess.
Yeah, there's not a ton of like super normal people in our field. There's some ish, but yeah, I think we have. And I mean, your path sounds similar to mine in a sense too, where I feel like I was definitely a rule follower, but maybe there was the inner rebel or something like waiting to come out. And I think when she saw some examples of like, oh, these people are like living more free, that seems really nice. Yeah, let's do that.
Did you have a particular like rebel role model or person that you're like,
Well,
they just opened the door for me?
I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Taylor. I don't know that I would describe her as like a rebel role model in that sense, but she was the first person who talked about masturbation openly around me. And I was like, oh, this is not like scary and taboo.
Right.
I was in college and I was like, oh my, wait. And then like other people are also talking about it. She just like made it okay. And so I tell her, I'm like, Taylor, if we didn't have that moment, I might have not even like gotten on this path. Who knows?
Taylor.
I know. Love Taylor. And then there was this person at a sex toy store in Chicago, the Pleasure Chest. And it was a really nice sex toy store. And I went there and was just like, I don't know, curious and asking questions and probably like a little bit uncomfy and just like, I don't know. Like, okay. And the person helping was just like, okay, cool. So like, yeah, what are you looking for? And do you want like anal stimulation or clitoral stimulation and I was like, oh my gosh, like you could just be that comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just enjoy.
I know. So that was, I think it was just people, maybe it wasn't the rebel thing so much. It was like the opening up of possibility.
Right.
That really made me be like, yes, I want more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
lovely.
Interesting
so
journeys.
Your friend and random sex toy salesman are why we're here.
And lots of education, as you know. That and many years of school. Okay, so then you become a therapist. Did you know right away you wanted to study sex therapy?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Me neither. Yeah.
That just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went through divorce, and that threw me into the world of online dating and just dating and sex. And I'm like a person that like likes to know and just gets so curious. And so I did tons of exploring and was like always listening to podcasts, and then kind of got like a lot of my friends ended up going into psychology or somewhere in the world of kink, and I was just so curious, like why does that turn me on? Why did that thing that I thought would turn me on turn me off? Why was this thought but this wasn't? Like why? I just kept being like, why?
Yeah.
And and so I just got like more and more and more curious about it and ended up on that path.
Love that. And then you told me your story about switching from therapy to coaching, but can you tell the listeners a little bit of that?
Well, that's like random. I wish I had like some cohesive story, but
to be cohesive. We don't need it to be cohesive.
I guess I just I had trained in these forms of psychotherapy, which were more like mindfulness or Buddhist focused. Like
Mm-hmm.
instead of improving yourself, realize that improving yourself allows you to avoid certain disturbing feelings or sensations in your body. Can you actually make those parts of you or those sensations, can you make a home for them? And then you
Yeah.
don't need to like
Yeah.
always be running from that moment. Can you
Yes.
slow down? So there were Hakomi and Gestalt. And through that, I met this person who was a sex therapist who became more or less, in my eyes, a famous sex coach. Her name is Keely Rankin. And she was having a baby years later and was looking for someone to train and give her wait list to.
That's amazing.
And so at this point, I had graduated grad school. I was pursuing my hours and I got this email from her. And I was like, yeah, actually, I would love to be trained
Did
by
you know
you.
her at this point? Or did she
Not
just like
really.
find you
I had
online
listened to
kind
a
of?
bunch of her podcasts.
Okay.
I had done some trainings with her as peers, but that did I know
Okay.
her well? But I was always like, this person, kind of like your friend, just is
Okay.
like was so curious and full of life and so unabashedly unashamed of pleasure, and also strangely was more like focused on mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
and slowing down, and it wasn't a performance. Like you could tell this person was grounded in themselves. And so I just took a leap and became a sex coach.
There you go. I think that's a fantastic story.
Okay, great. It was random. It was like a random email
I
while
like
walking on the
random. Yeah.
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So I actually wrote my application back to her while walking the trail. And it's just like one day my life was going like, I'm being a regular therapist, to next, I'm being a sex coach.
Yeah. And here you are.
Yeah.
It's cool. Do you love it?
I love it.
Oh, that's so good. It is very
Yeah.
fulfilling.
It's so fulfilling. I'm constantly learning. And it's also just
Yeah.
so awesome when a couple moves from just like repeating the same fight over and over, or just like sex is just not a source of fun and play.
Yeah.
It's stress. And then they are starting to like flirt again.
I know.
And they're like giggling or like touching each other, and you can just tell they are digging each other again. Or like, I love working with premature ejaculation and ED. Like, again, sex becomes a source of like, why am I broken? To like someone like really feeling themselves again.
Yes.
And being like, just, I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool, and I think I feel grateful and sometimes humbled to like get to be part of people's journey in this way. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, so let's talk about our official topic today, which is masturbation and porn. And is porn bad? And what about masturbation? And does it cause problems in your sex life? Is it a good thing? There's a lot of debate. This is like a hot topic in our field, I feel like. But we will bravely go forth and talk about it anyways.
Yeah. So, are your masturbation and porn habits causing sexual problems?
Right.
The answer is maybe, but probably not in the way you think. And I wanted to talk about this topic because every week I get a bunch of, it's mostly men, reaching out to me saying, I have ED and I can't have sex with, or I struggle to have sex with my partner, and it's porn induced. Or I have premature ejaculation and it's because of my porn use or my masturbation. And I began to think, like, is that true, or is that just the thing we latch onto? And so it began, like, I guess today I want to go into the evidence. There's studies on this. If porn and masturbation causes ED, premature ejaculation, and a struggle to orgasm and orgasmia. And then Second, I want to explain whether or not your porn use can be causing problems
Yeah.
and like the hidden reasons many of us feel somewhat addicted to porn.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want to explain like why, or maybe some reasons your body could be acting the way you want it to while you're home alone watching porn, but then suddenly you're with a partner and your body's doing
Yeah.
something different, and
Yeah.
what that could be really telling you.
Love all of this.
And then I'll sort of give you some prompts and how to do some self-study to change your habits if you feel that's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
or explore like a healthy relationship with porn and masturbation for you.
Okay, I love it. Well, let's dig in on like where are people at when they come to you for this issue? Like what's kind of the initial assumption that's maybe not fully correct?
Well, again, it's someone coming to me, we're doing an intake, or they send me an email,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, just last week, a couple, the man was saying, yeah, I can't get hard, and it's because I'm using a ton of porn.
Mm.
And is that the reason, or
Yeah.
is that just connected? Just because two things are happening at the same time doesn't mean that it's the cause.
Right.
But so many, and I'm focused on men in this
Right.
podcast,
Okay.
but so many men um, just think it is. It's such an easy thing to latch on to. Oh, I'm doing this thing often. It must be causing the problems. And sometimes it is, but it's a little bit nuanced. So again, like a few studies. So in 2019, there was a study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine called "Is Pornography Use Related to Erectile Dysfunction?" And
Mm-hmm.
they looked at 800 men across 3 different samples, some college students, some just representative of the national sample of men, and a year-long follow-up group.
Okay.
And what they found was striking. There's pretty much no consistent link between porn,
Interesting.
masturbation, and erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
But there is this weird thing that happens where the men that think that it is in their
Mm-hmm.
mind report that their porn use is causing it, even though the researchers found that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So the men who report, yes, my porn use is causing ED, that wasn't actually true. So the takeaway there is watching porn doesn't seem to cause ED, but if someone feels out of control, they often latch on to porn being the issue, believe it's porn being the issue, but it's not often. I'll go on to explain when it is an issue,
Okay.
the reason. But it's like something that easily we grasp onto, which again, like now that was ED. There's another study in 2021 around 900 men as well, that there was no link between porn use and premature ejaculation.
Okay.
But again, this study found that men seemed to think there was, even though there wasn't. So
Yeah.
it's someone's belief that their porn use is problematic, not the use itself, that's tied to premature ejaculation.
Okay. That makes some sense.
So I'll explain like when porn use does cause problems
Yeah. Because
related.
I've definitely had clients too where it's like they quit the porn use and their sex life with their partner does improve.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that can happen.
Yeah.
Um, why do you think that was?
What do I think it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of it was at least, and this is kind of what he reported at least, like maybe the acts that were being done, the level of stimulation, the body type of the actors, and I think I also think there was an element of just like satisfying his own urges. So there was
Right.
maybe like less buildup. And then when he was kind of like, no, I have, a partner I'm seeing regularly. I'm just going to kind of like save it for her. I think then it just shifted his focus
So he
a
started
lot.
seeing a partner?
No, he had a girlfriend. Yeah. Like they were in a
Okay.
relationship kind of the whole time. And he was just debating like, think this might not be working for me. And so then
Yeah.
he's like, okay, I'm going to quit the porn for a while. Like, let's do that as an experiment and see. And he was like, oh yeah, it is actually like my sex life with my girlfriend's definitely better now.
Right. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And one thing porn can do, like food or other things that we cope with, is
Mm-hmm.
it can like really shut down uncomfortable emotions or turn
Mm-hmm.
us off of our curiosity. So it's not surprising that many men report going from this like consuming type of sex where like with porn it's kind of like watching a movie. When you go to the movie theaters, you forget about your body.
Yeah.
You're like in this other world.
Yes.
But that can lead us to, if we do that a lot, to now going into having sex with a partner and having been like kind of lost from what is my next impulse from pleasure, like going from this
Mm-hmm.
passive consumption to like now there you might need to like relearn like what's my next impulse, what do I want to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
what is interesting about this, what do I want to do, and like relearn to be like creative again
Mm-hmm.
and follow kind of like scream your own name in sex and like really follow your own impulses, which we
Yeah.
don't need to do.
Yeah. That really is
But
cracking me up, the like screaming my own name thing. I'm just imagining
yeah, I
that.
think it's really great. I think if two people are screaming their own name, they'll probably, and they can
I
listen.
wouldn't just be, I would just be like, Heather, you're so hot.
Yeah, I think both people might be like, this is a fun time. But like to make what you want to have happen
Mm-hmm.
and listen, of
Mm-hmm.
course, but if both people have agency and communicate their yes and their no and their I
Mm-hmm.
want something different, but like to be able to kind of know what do I want next is an exploration many
Yeah.
people haven't done, but
Yes.
porn allows us to get turned on because
Yeah.
we don't need to answer that question.
I know. I think of porn sometimes as like the lazy path, you know?
It's
Um,
lazy. It is
yeah.
lazy, but how awesome too that you can have this lazy, joyous thing.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Sometimes you're allowed to be
yeah,
lazy. Yeah.
yeah. But people hyper focus on it, and it's kind of, which both of these studies show, and which I see from many people reaching out to me, which I want to give an analogy. It's like if your car engine light is on,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like if your car engine light is on and then you start screaming at the car engine light
Okay.
notifier
Okay.
instead of being like, wait, what's going on with my engine or what's going on inside. And so
Okay.
many, like, I think porn is not like, sometimes porn use or masturbation can be great, can be a really great emotional regulator in a difficult life. You know, we all have to cope with ups and downs in life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
nice to self-soothe.
Just be
But
fun.
like
Yeah.
sometimes if you can't just turn that off, like porn use and a lot of porn use is a signal that most men are quick to, I'm addicted to porn, but it's like, no,
Yeah.
like there's something here, like listen, this
Yeah.
is actually like
Yeah.
a useful signal.
Okay. So when people
And I want to
actually,
get
oh, go ahead.
what I
Wait,
want to
well,
get to the porn use is a signal, but I do want to tag that there are some times
uh-huh.
that porn is a problem. Do we want to get into that
Yeah.
now? Or masturbation can cause things like ED and premature ejaculation.
Let's
Should we
go
get
to
into
the
that now
signal
or later?
first, and then we'll circle back.
Okay.
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 So yeah, because I think this is really important and kind of like fundamental, you know, like people tuning into their own bodies and understanding like the signals their body is giving them, and just like because you kind of, the movie example was good. It's like we're more in our imagination in our head, not as in our body. And so it seems like part of what you're trying to do with people is like, let's go back into your body.
Yeah, so let's get back into our body.
Yeah.
Like, how do I know what I want next? What do I want to say? What would be sexy to me?
Yes.
But then there's the question of what is the signal? What is the check engine light that porn might be signaling? And here's the key question, which is before you watch porn, before you open the tab, ask yourself, by watching porn, by opening up
Mm-hmm.
this tab, what emotion, maybe it's a difficult emotion, do I get to avoid feeling? And this can be a really awesome question. And you know what? If after that question at the beginning you still want to watch porn, go for it. But do it with consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, for me in my own life, it's often loneliness or boredom.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's the disturbing feeling of not knowing the answer. Maybe there's some decision I'm making. But
Yeah.
it's often we're using porn just like other self-soothers like food or alcohol or whatever it is.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling, where the key is most emotions go away within 30 to 60 seconds if we
Mm-hmm.
allow them. It's like emotions are tunnels. You have to go through the tunnel to get to the
I
other side. But
know.
if you're like, I have this emotion, it is loneliness or it
Right.
is anxiousness.
Right.
I'm going to shove it down with doom scrolling or shove it down with porn. You're still going to be stuck in the dark tunnel.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if you can't, porn is like, and masturbation are great emotional regulators. Let's celebrate it. Let's use them. Like, how great is it that we can have a tool that makes life easier in a
Mm-hmm.
hard day?
Right.
And if it's your only emotional tool, or if it's one you keep coming
Yes.
to, is there a different way you can tend to these emotions like loneliness, disconnection, anxiety and not knowing, and boredom or grief or other things? You'll ask yourself that question before you
Mm-hmm.
watch, and you can start to track it and then realize, this is why I say it's like a signal. You can start to realize, oh, I'm not watching porn when I'm horny. Most of us actually aren't. Sometimes that's true, but that it's something else, and you can listen to it. Like, I had one client who kept saying, my ED is because of my porn use. I'm so nervous about my porn use, so nervous about my porn use. And this was early on in my career, and so we so hyper focused on the porn use. But then eventually later in my career, we started to be like, wait, let's just like stop hyper focusing on shoving the porn down and like making
Yeah.
new commitments to not use porn, because it keeps coming back every time we do.
Yeah.
What difficult feeling are you getting to avoid by
Yeah.
watching porn? And it
Yeah.
was loneliness. And it was like kind of a disengaged life. And so
Mm-hmm.
we sat with the loneliness and we asked the loneliness, like, if you were a wise part of me, what good longing do you have for me? And there were multiple things. There was like living an engaged life, finding a partner. And this man moved to getting hobbies, eventually dating someone. And the porn use just went away.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can numb your body's signals, but if they keep coming back, like paying attention to them made this go away. This person does not deal with what he called a porn addiction anymore, because he
That's so
paused
cool.
and listened to the painful signal.
Yes.
Same with boredom. Boredom equals, the math equation for boredom equals disengaged plus trapped.
Mm.
And so, why do you feel trapped? Do you not know what you can do to engage yourself? Is this like, do you have no other option? Like, is this a real trapped, or is this like a, I don't yet know what my hobbies are. I don't, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. And boredom goes away when we don't feel trapped. We just kind of like, if you ever watch a kid being done with a toy, what did they do? They just drop it and they
Yeah.
move on. They're
Yeah.
not, but if you for some reason feel trapped, like, then you're going to just sit there in it and probably want to shove the emotion of boredom down.
Yeah. It's very true. It's important to listen to your emotions.
Yeah.
We do, I don't know, avoidance has a place. I feel like it does. But
Mm-hmm.
we have all these creative ways that we avoid uncomfortable things. But yeah, sometimes, like you said, these signals are just like calling to us. It's like They're like, listen to me. I'm trying to tell you
Yeah.
something, you know?
Stop yelling at the messenger to check something,
Yeah.
like pause
Yeah.
for
Right.
once, and check.
And then they'll get louder if you don't listen. Like they will,
Right.
yeah. Like it doesn't go well.
Right.
So do yourself a favor, people. Like listen to your feelings earlier on. And sometimes I think, like you said, with the 30 to 60 seconds, we have it in our mind that like, oh my God, if I give this emotion an inch, it's gonna take a mile. And like if I feel my grief, if I feel my loneliness, it's gonna be like this huge abyss that's gonna consume me.
Yeah.
That's often the fear.
Yeah.
But it won't.
It won't for many of us, and for some of us it might, and then you can like seek help or seek a friend
Well, yes.
to like sit with you and help you regulate into this emotion, and then it will pass.
I do recommend having like a coach or therapist if there's something big like
you're
that.
Not biased though.
Yeah. I'm not biased at all, Aaron. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm skeptical of them.
I mean, I suppose it could be some other type of person who's just very conscious.
There's other people.
there's a few other healing things, but so I think I don't know if I mentioned I do improv, so I feel like that's actually very therapeutic and healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you goof around and act like a child and call it improv.
Improv is great. Improv is exactly like the opposite of porn. You can watch improv and consume, but improvisers have to follow their impulse and constantly be surprised.
Yes.
And so that's the same thing where it might take a moment if you're used to consuming things more, to just constantly ask yourself the question, like, let myself be surprised. What does my hand want to do? What does my tongue want to do? What do I want to say?
Just asking the question, I think, is such a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've tuned into the issue, the presenting issue, people say, and then we've tuned into that it's really a signal, and how can we start figuring out what the messenger is saying. Now maybe let's get into what you were talking about, that sometimes it really is a problem for people.
Yeah. So here's the catch. Sometimes it can cause an issue, right? Like we talked about one of the ways, which is it can tune us out of our impulses and make us passive. And then we're not actually having the type of sex that really turns us on.
I know.
Because we're disengaged.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. But then there's also something called death grip. Which is if you're masturbating typically with no lube and you're masturbating very hard, it's something that no partner or their parts could replicate. Yes. So you might get hard, but be like aroused, but then like lose it or not get hard at all when your partner's touching you or when you're engaged in intercourse.
Yeah.
And there is a definite causal link between if you're masturbating in this really hard way and with no lube that no one else can replicate. Because now you've trained yourself to get turned on by a type of stimulation that no one else can do. So in that case, you'll need to start to retrain your body to get turned on by touch that other people can do. And so what that looks like is not masturbating that really vigorously hard way, using lube, investing in lube of whatever your choice is. If you're doing intercourse with someone with a vagina, you might want to use like a Fleshlight or any of the other brands. I don't know, but like to start to
like replicate a vagina, basically.
Replicate. And at first, it might be pretty boring. Just like how being stuck in like a loud concert for like hours and hours and hours and hours, you might go to like somewhere else and be like, there's not much sound here. Over time, you'll hear, you'll get used to it. So that might take a few weeks. But check the way you're masturbating. Also, there's another thing that I found to be linked, which is if when you were young, you masturbated really secretly, quickly, in
Mm.
shame, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have found that associates sort of anxiety. I need to get this done. I'm bad for my arousal.
Mm.
That may need to be unlearned. And
Yeah.
so you may have like repetitively caught, just based on the nature of the environment you were in, um, you may need to start masturbating more slowly. This can cause premature ejaculation.
Mm-hmm.
Examine with a therapist, a coach, yourself, in a diary, like why there's a part of me that feels bad for my arousal,
Mm-hmm.
and to start to engage with it. Don't just tell it go away, like actually talk to it for a little bit
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
masturbate in a way that is much slower, much more connected. I would say if that feels like you, don't use porn for a little bit because it will cut you off from the
Yeah.
slow masturbation and engaging in what is my body saying. But if you need to use porn, you can either turn off the visuals, like dim your screen,
Hmm.
or turn off the audio, like
Mm-hmm.
lower the
Like,
novelty of it.
that makes sense. Like, phase yourself out of the
Yeah.
overstimulation. Okay. I
Yeah.
like that option too for people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the
So it's
final,
practical.
yeah. So those are the main things, like avoiding a signal,
Mm-hmm.
not being able to follow your own impulses, becoming really passive with it,
Mm-hmm.
um, death grip and no lube,
Mm-hmm.
a quick masturbation style from shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy addressing these things too, because I'm also imagining someone trying to make these changes and feeling like, but I miss my outlet for stress relief and pleasure. Like, now I just have to feel bored and like it's not fun touching my penis anymore.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I kind of also want to celebrate masturbation and porn in the
okay.
same way. Like, okay, one time I had an intentional eating coach because
Hmm.
I just wasn't happy with I was examining all my relationships, my relationship with
Yeah.
partner, my relationship with arts, my relationship. Anyways, one of the big relationships in my life was like, oh yeah, my relationship with food.
Okay.
And I kept going through these patterns of like eating really healthy, then eating terribly, then eating really healthy, and then eating terribly. And I think this is the intuitive eating coach, their dietitian, taught me about
Mm.
intuitive eating, which basically one of the evidence-based principles is that if you call something really bad, like a
Mm-hmm.
type like bread, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, you might not eat it for a little while, but because you've named it bad, all of a sudden there's going to be times where you're like, all I want is bread. All I want is pizza. All I want is ice cream. And you
Yeah.
just like, because this thing that is delightful now has
Mm-hmm.
shame with it. So now you're
Yeah.
feeling even more tension in your body, which lowers willpower. And now you want the shame to stop. So if you
Yeah.
can take away the shame, like what I learned from this intentional eating coach is like, have a piece of bread with every meal.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm so much healthier because I indulge a
That's
little bit. I have
amazing.
like a little bit of dessert. I have like a little bit of whatever. And I think same with porn. Like, it's not bad. Life is hard. There are great days and there are some days where you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
and it is awesome that we have this tool that we can just cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes use it and celebrate that, like, we have this tool. If it's
Mm-hmm.
the only tool you can go to, well, now you
Yes.
might need to build a bigger emotional toolbox.
100%.
But
Yeah.
yeah, use it
Yeah.
if you want, if it's helpful. And
Yeah.
it's amazing that we have modern advances, like awesome food. Well, that's not modern at all, but like, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's true. Yeah. We don't want to like totally deprive ourselves when like, yeah, we have these kind of convenient options around us. I love that. So, okay. And I know you mentioned you had some like practices for people who maybe wanted to work on their
Do
relationship
we
with
have
masturbation and porn.
Yeah, so I have, well, how much time do we have? Because I also wanted to talk once about, well, like I'm getting harder, I'm lasting longer alone, but not with a partner.
Oh, well, let's get into that first.
Okay.
Okay.
So arousal and erection and wetness come from the parasympathetic nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
which is also known as rest and digest or feed and
Mm-hmm.
breathe. It is like, the feeling of relax.
Mm-hmm.
Parasympathetic, parachute, just like going down. And then there's the sympathetic nervous system, which is the other nervous system, which is fight or flight. And that's where orgasm comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you're getting hard alone or lasting longer alone,
Mm-hmm.
but not with a partner,
Mm-hmm.
that's great news. It means your system is fine. It is also saying in some way you're feeling stressed with your partner. You're
Yeah.
not in parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
And so that arousal lives in that safety, ease, and play zone. And we all have accelerators, things that turn us on, and brakes, things that turn us off. And so common reasons people, men are like able to do this type of stuff alone, but not with a partner, struggle with a
Mm-hmm.
partner, there's a bunch. There's probably too much to talk about here, but like
Yeah.
resentment or pressure in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure of arousal. Also, if you're like feeling like I can't be myself, I'm mad at
Mm-hmm.
my partner, like you might not get aroused, or
Yeah.
you might feel threat and orgasm too quickly. Also, if your partner's coming onto you too fast,
Mm-hmm.
that too much too fast feels like pressure, not like
Mm-hmm.
safety. If
Mm-hmm.
you feel sexual shame or a lot of stress in your life, tackle that. Or like if your erotic styles aren't matched. So if you like kinky things and they just like plain vanilla sex, both are great, but you may need to kind of teach each other your language. Or there's many other styles um, of sex, like sensual sex or
Mm-hmm.
energetic, which is all about anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Before the kiss is hotter than the kiss. Like you may need, if you speak French, your erotic language is French and theirs is Spanish, you can't just scream French louder. You may need to teach each other your language.
Right.
So those
Right.
are some things you might explore.
Yeah. I think that's true. And I mean, I usually have people work some of these things out on their own first, because I do feel like there's extra layers with a partner, where people might feel self-conscious or performative or unsafe, like you mentioned. And those typically do not make for hot sex. So,
Yeah. And if you're
yeah.
finding that,
Yeah.
like for a second, stop like beating your cock up and ask it. If you were wise, if you're not getting hard or you're coming
Mm-hmm.
quickly or you're not orgasming, and I could trust that you're not broken,
Right.
what are you telling me? What do you
Yes.
want in that moment? What are you telling me
Yes.
that you're asking for?
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, go ahead.
I talk about this in my All About Erections episode as well. But yeah, I think that especially, I mean, you're the man here, so you can say if this is correct.
I'm the
But
man.
I
Same.
am not
No.
in this case. But I just feel like men are socialized to not be as in touch with emotions. And so sometimes like the interpretation is like, my penis is just broken. I'm like, what if your penis is a genius and it's just like feeling the
Right.
emotions for you because you're not acknowledging them?
Right.
I know.
Right. Like I've done this exercise a million times.
Yeah.
And with men, and like some of them will feel like, oh, well, that time the music was really loud and the lights were really bright and I kept getting
Mm.
distracted by that. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next time that happened, they tuned into it and they just kept being like, if you're not broken, what do you want? It's like, I want this to change in the room. Or for someone else, it's like, I want this different type of sex, or I want to say this thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I want to slow down, or I'm mad at my partner
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
Or yeah, there's so many different things. And then you can actually do something with that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Our bodies have so much wisdom. Like generally not broken, in my opinion.
I
You know?
agree.
Yeah. Sometimes we just don't want to hear what they have to say, which is probably good to acknowledge. So, okay, so now let's get into the practical, like kind of, I don't know if they were exercises or what, how would you describe what you wanted
Yeah,
to
so
share?
kind of like what to do. On my website,
Mm-hmm.
aaronfrazin.com/porn, I have a short guided meditation to ask, what am I really craving?
Mm-hmm.
A list of questions to check in before using porn. So
Oh,
you
great.
can, yeah, um, and a list of other things you can do instead. And like a
Okay.
cheat sheet of why you might be aroused alone and not with your partner and what to try.
This is
But
great.
basically, yeah. So basically, like, the important thing is to start to get to know yourself, track your impulses. Like, when I'm about to open up the tab, ask yourself the question, what feeling do I get to avoid feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And spend a moment there. And if
Yeah.
you still want to watch porn and masturbate, great, do it.
Right.
Now you can do it consciously.
Yeah.
And if there's any patterns, now you can actually, and if there's patterns that you feel like are hurting your life,
Mm-hmm.
then you can know like where to focus. So
Yeah.
you're shifting from shame to curiosity.
Love
Again, if
that.
you're using death grip, soften it, use lube, retrain sensitivity. If you're explore your brakes and your accelerators. So start
Mm-hmm.
exploring, like asking your cock, like, if you're not broken, what are you trying to tell me?
Mm-hmm.
And also do that with like, I guess this is a whole different topic, but like start to explore your own fantasies. Often people report like when they, if they're using less porn, they'll tap into their fantasies, and you can start to like figure out by studying your fantasies, like what really turns me on. And maybe the type
Hmm.
of sex you're having isn't actually the type of sex that is what really turns you on, and you can start
Right.
to explore again. And yeah, like scream your own name, listen and scream your own name, but like follow, be surprised, like
Yeah.
keep asking yourself, like, be surprised. What if I follow my next impulse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's like giving yourself permission. And I like to think of them as like little experiments because I think that takes the pressure off. It's like, let me
Yeah.
just try this thing this one time and like see how it goes. And that will be
Yeah.
like a little data point for next time. If I
Yeah.
like it or not. Yeah. Try some things. Okay, cool. So it sounds like if people want to learn more about you, I don't think you're not a social media guy, right? So they should go to your website.
Yeah, I don't do social media.
Okay,
But
good for
yeah,
you.
aaronfrazin.com. That's two A's in
Perfect.
Aaron, FRAZIN.com. And if you want
Awesome.
specifically all these resources, they're at aaronfrazin.com/porn.
Love it.
And they're like all the tools that I think helped me and my clients change their relationship to porn and really start to address some of the sexual challenges and
Yeah.
change their relationship with it.
I love that. That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing some of your story and wisdom with us today and being here. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will catch you in another couple weeks on another episode of Ask a Sex Therapist. Bye, everybody.
Bye.